Welcome everyone to this short presentation, how to create an anti-oppression statement for your business. My name is Ilya Parker. A little bit about me. My pronouns are he and they, which I use interchangeably. I am Black, transmasculine, and non-binary. I'm the owner of Decolonizing Fitness, LLC. I have a background in physical therapy and medical exercise. I am also a grassroots organizer, writer, and educator. So a little bit about Decolonizing Fitness. Decolonizing Fitness was birthed from the need for a diverse group of bodies to have access to affirming and welcoming fitness and movement spaces. Historically, folks who are marginalized, in particular Black folks, trans folks, folks in larger bodies, folks with disabilities, folks who are over the age of 65, folks with chronic illnesses, folks who speak English as a second language have been neglected, discriminated against, and just downright not celebrated in fitness and movement spaces. So Decolonizing Fitness literally seeks to change that, to redefine fitness so it is affirming to folks who want to engage and to create more healing practices of movement. So what you'll find is me sharing some presentations on YouTube, a little bit about my work for anyone who wants to create a more welcoming fitness or movement space in their community. So let's get into it. Here's an overview of what we'll be talking about today. First, what is anti-oppression? What is an anti-oppression statement? Why is an anti-oppression statement important? And how do I create an anti-oppression statement? Well, we can't talk about anti-oppression without first defining oppression. And as you can see on the screen, oppression literally equals prejudice plus power. Oppression is more than prejudicial thoughts and actions of individuals. Oppression is institutionalized power that is historically formed and perpetuated over time. Through the use of that institutionalized power, it allows certain groups of people or certain identities to assume a dominant, privileged position over other groups and identities. And this dominance is maintained and continued at institutional and cultural levels. An example of a system of oppression that actually happened in the United States in the 1930s. The federal government, banks, and the real estate industry worked together to literally prevent Black people from becoming homeowners and to create racially segregated neighborhoods in a process known as redlining, which still affects housing, the quality of education, and employment for millions of Black people today. So oppression is literally built into institutions like government and education systems. Systems of oppression run through our language, shape the way we act and do things in our culture, and are built around what are understood to be quote unquote norms in our societies. A norm signifies what is quote unquote normal, acceptable, and desirable, and is something that is valued and supported in a society. It is also given a position of dominance, privilege, and power over what is defined as non-dominant, abnormal, and therefore marginal. So what is anti-oppression? Anti-oppression is the strategies, theories, actions, and practices that actively challenge systems of oppression on an ongoing basis, individually, collectively, and institutionally. Anti-oppression work seeks to recognize the oppression that exists in our society and attempts to mitigate its effects and eventually equalize the power imbalance in our communities. Oppression operates at different levels for individual, from individual to institutional to cultural, and so anti-oppression must do the same. To be clear, anti-oppression is not the same as diversity and inclusion. Ideally, diversity and inclusion has to do with the acknowledgement, the valuing, the celebration of difference, whereas anti-oppression challenges the systemic biases that devalue and marginalize difference. So, a definition of an anti-oppression statement, it acts as a guiding set of beliefs, values, and practices for an organization that is rooted in understanding how systems of oppression affect everyone, examining our privileges, reducing barriers, maintaining transparency, shifting power to those most marginalized, and being dedicated to a lifelong commitment to doing better. And I want to note that anti-oppression statements are most helpful when actual practice is in place through anti-oppression work. Sometimes that actual practice should be in place before you even create the statement, and we'll get into how you can do that a little later. This work requires time, listening, and collective effort if you want to create real and lasting change. So why is an anti-oppression statement important? It is a framework that helps your organization to develop a shared understanding of oppression and anti-oppression work to ensure that your organization is not reproducing oppression. Anti-oppression statements help to challenge and uproot supremacist practices which marginalize, exclude, or dehumanize others. And this is also a great way to just let folks know right off the bat, in light of this global pandemic, many people are engaging with your work as a business through your website, through your social media handles. So creating that welcoming environment through an awesome anti-oppression statement helps folks who otherwise are very negated in fitness and movement spaces to say, hey, this is potentially a business that I can feel affirmed and supported in. So how do you create an anti-oppression statement? First thing you can do is establish the areas of your organization that needs improvement and really gain an understanding of the practices, beliefs, and cultural norms that are explicitly or implicitly excluding people from full participation in your organization. You can build shared language within your organization. For example, you might have some people talking about inclusion, other people may be talking about diversity, and then others may even be talking about anti-oppression. You might be using the same words to describe different things, so you may need to create a statement of intent or create your own definitions of these words before you can even begin crafting your anti-oppression statement. And then it's great to create a shared vision of your future. This stage helps your organization understand that living your anti-oppression values, like other values, is something you need to do every day. It can also help your organization get ready for challenges you might face in trying to create a more liberatory future. It's very important to fully examine the ways in which your organization, say, manages conflict, maintains supportive or harmful workplace conditions, adapts to and supports change. It's important that you create an environment where your staff, members, owners are literally on the same page and are moving in the same place of intention. Here are some great websites that have some amazing anti-oppression statements. And I want to note on some of these websites, you may not see the specific words anti-oppression statements, but I feel like if you kind of travel through their About Me section, I feel like they have some great language that you can get some ideas of how to create one for yourself. And I want to note that anti-oppression work takes time on a personal and organizational level. Um, many discussions may need to take place about what discrimination in practice looks like in your business, and what oppression, how it's manifested in your business. You need to commit time to learn about each other, to share stories about your lives, your history, your culture, your experience. And you can even set anti-oppression goals and continuously evaluate whether or not you're meeting them. Like, for example, you can set a metric of honoring pronouns at least 90% of the time. And it's something that your staff could adhere to. You need to make sure that you're promoting anti-racist, anti-transphobic, anti-ableist messages and analysis in everything you do, everything you put out to the world, in and outside of your business. And remember, these are complex issues and they need a lot of time and a lot of space to unpack. So create opportunities for your staff, for your members, for owners to develop skills to communicate about oppression, and have different skill shares where different folks share leadership responsibilities, and then respect those different styles of leadership and communication. And please, as much as I talk about hiring marginalized people, bringing marginalized people into your businesses, don't push them to do things simply because they're from an oppressed group. That's called tokenism. Base it, base the work on their skills, on their experience level, and then support them in those leadership roles. Make a collective commitment to hold people accountable for their behavior so that the organization can be a safe and nurturing place for all. So thank you so much for listening. Here are some sources. And if you would like to learn more, you can visit the link that's highlighted on your screen. I know that's a super uber long link, but you can actually just go to decolonizingfitness.com, click on the full catalog drop down menu, and you'll see the Affirming Spaces series, and you can just click on that and learn more. And much of the work that I do is free or at a very low cost to folks. And I cannot sustain this work without donations. So if you are able to donate, please feel free to donate to the sites listed on the screen here. And if you aren't able to donate, please share my work. This YouTube presentation will be accessible to everyone, so please share this link. Thank you so much for tuning in.